just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
It's not for sale and it won't be for sale ever. So that's what he says, but does he really mean it? Welcome to the Truth Table. I'm Paul Everton, the host here, season 2, episode 20. And I have 3 out of the 4 guests coming today, all military men. Or actually 2 of the 4, Selgovae and David, are yet to arrive, but that's okay. We're not gonna wait. We have enough information to go for hours and hours, right, Kirk? And as whistleblowers, I can understand how they feel defeated because the senior people shut down the process of whistleblowing. And C290, we've mentioned many times, is the whistleblower protection. And this is a law that's in place that's never been implemented to actually protect. So, I mean, they have the laws, but they're just not using them. They're being very selective with what they use and what they don't use. So I can understand the black pilling because I was there. I've said it many times. I'm black pilled because of Dominion voting machine. We have no vote. They just make us feel like we're voting, and they use polls to manipulate us into thinking someone's winning and someone's not. It's all manipulation. There's no real information. There's no transparency. Even schools should be teaching, what the liberal platform is and what they've done, what they've actually done and implemented. So children know well before they're able to vote what happened and, who the liars are and who the non-liars are. And that with every platform, they need to do that with the Conservatives and the NDP and the Green Party. To me, they're all bad. Eco-fascism, Marxism, communism, all bad. None of them are good. They're all driving us over a cliff, and they're only offering us different cars to drive in. So they're still going over a cliff, and the only solutions we have are ignored by the media. So we have the People's Party, the Libertarian Party, which has been there since the beginning. Then we have the independents. All these people wouldn't be controlled by the whip. Okay, we have chat already. Robbie, welcome. You caught this live on time. That's right. We haven't even really started. I'm just babbling as many hosts do. But I mean, these are all just my opinions. I'm not saying I'm telling the truth because there's a flaw in that, because maybe I was lied to. So I'm just going off of base of what I know and understand. And we have to say, and to all these whistleblowers like Kirk, is that you actually did fulfill your mission because you revealed what was going on. You showed us what's going on. Selgovae showed what was going on in the army and John Wick. And you know what I mean? Like, they showed that there is corruption. And that awareness is what's important here. Once we know about it, then it's about unifying mankind into, either standing in righteousness or standing in the lies. We don't want anyone to be harmed. We know that we can fix almost everything. And it's not even difficult. Creating a new education system is not going to be difficult. It's going to be time consuming, but not difficult. We have brilliant mathematicians. We have brilliant carpenters and electricians and plumbers. All these things we have, and we can get the best of the best, have them write curriculums for that and test it on each child. And if they like something and they enjoy something, they can pursue that all the way to graduation. By the time they graduate, they can, be a plumber, be an architect. it's so easy to fix by just ending the limitations and the slow pace, the one size fits all. Doesn't work anywhere. Doesn't work in medicine because we have different genomes. So something may hurt you. And the flaw here is that if you inject everyone with one thing, it may kill 30,000 people out of a million, but that's because the negligence of not checking their genome first to see to know in advance that they could die from something. Not doing that is the negligence. And that's why one size doesn't fit anybody. And it's just uh, um, negligent to think that way and to work that way. And that's what we've been facing. So all these men have, the courage to say this out in the open, their experiences, and it does take courage. It's not an easy thing that they're doing because there are, like the police, for example, when they do something bad to a citizen. Yeah, everyone's here now. Selgovae, David, welcome. Um, when they harm a citizen, um, they'll back each other up, and that's not acceptable. You have to stand in righteousness. If you're a police officer, and your fellow police officers do something wrong, you have to be the whistleblower. Like my guest today, you have to be the one. I mean, you have that choice, the opportunity to right the wrongs and get rid of these bad people that are hurting people. And we need that in every department. We need that in the Rangers. We need that in the RCMP. We need that in politics. We need to be able to fire someone who lies, who says one thing and does another thing. Elbows up my. Oh, I almost swore. Elbows up. Yeah, sure. But now when you're black pilled, you feel like a dog with no legs. I mean, what do you call a dog with no legs? Doesn't matter because he's not coming anyway. You can call them all you like. Okay. I'm going to bring my guests on one at a time. So just to be able to give them a time to speak. And I'm going to bring David Marker on first. That you may not have heard of him, but he sent a letter. Notice to agent is notice to principal. Notice to principal is notice to agent. I have written multiple letters that can be found on my Substack page, and I'm going to give everyone. I'm going to put it in the comments, so you can go read his letters. I have recently written Judge Napolitano, Scott Ritter, Kash Patel, Canadian government, as well as international lawyers regarding Nuremberg offenses, which we all witnessed, that occurred and are occurring currently. What does one do? Silence is treason. When justice has flaws, justice clearly has flaws. Covering up human trafficking, genocide in Palestine, money laundering in Ukraine and Israel for bankers, and the military industrial complex. America Corporation and Canada Corporation are both bankrupt and insolvent. Trying for Agenda 2030 and the Great Reset for the World Economic Forum. The WHO and the UN. I don't want to be chipped, nor do I believe that most people would like to either. Your media, our media, and the medical community had lied repeatedly. Who owns the media? Who owns Hollywood? Lies, lies, and more lies. Now he has a couple letters here, but I'm going to bring him on to expand on this letter and just thank you so much for coming, David. I don't see a camera, but I do see a big D. That does not sound good. David, how are you doing, brother? Okay, you're gonna have to leave and come back because you have no volume. That sometimes happens with your phone settings, but also I I can send if you send me your email, I can send it to your email. That has worked before, where you log in from your email. So try that. First, try leaving and coming back, and we'll see if your volume is working. And I will bring you on next. But someone who hasn't been here for so long is my brother Selgovae. Hey, I love this guy. He's such a brilliant mind, and he really cares about his fellow man. And he is in the army, so I mean, he's willing to die for us, and and he knows the risks of just being here, just by talking openly and revealing the scam that's happening in the courtrooms. So welcome, Selgovae. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Hey, thanks, man. So I made it in. I was busy today with helping another veteran in court. And I have on and off transmissions going on with lawyers right now around another matter. So if I do have to gap out for a minute, I'll come straight back in. But
Yeah,
thanks
sure.
for having me on and inviting me and to speak to everybody.
And our most handsome guest, we've got Kirk Riese here, who was saving a boat from
Love the cat.
going into the sea today. So
No, I still
I'm
have
glad you were
to
able.
do it.
It's
It's
still
still in the
sinking?
water to get it out.
Holy smokes! Well,
It's
you've tried,
sunk. I have to. See, there's 3 boats sunk. I have to get out right here.
and you've tried for many years to just
Nope. we
get
cannot.
remedy. Oh, yep. I saw you free. Am I freezing for you? I know you're freezing. All right, so I'm just gonna bring
You're
John
back
on
on
too.
now. I see a pajama boy there. I sent you a
Well, you
DM.
tried
Right. Bruce
for
Bennett,
Well,
Peninsula
maybe
Tuxedo.
post that later. Just
there we are. I see us now.
freezing.
Perfect.
So.
So you have tried for years, repeating your story and not seeing remedy. But did you not say not long ago that they resolved it with you? They did something. They said didn't they make amends or do something to
Oh, for me?
because you did have a space.
No.
Yes.
They sent me 180 grams of weed. 180 grams of cannabis a month is their solution to me. Keep me stoned, I guess, and I don't. Whatever. Just
Oh,
it's
my
insulting
God.
that
You got to be kidding.
if they were to me the money for it, I could do something with it and make my life better. But instead, they figure if I get 180 grams of marijuana
Yeah.
a month, it's going to make my and my children's lives better. It won't. But thanks for the thought.
Well, the three of us
Give me the
will.
$2,000 a month.
The
My
three
life
of
will
us
get
will
better.
go there and.
Hello, Francine.
Yeah. Well, we're all going to go on your boat now that we know you have weed.
I grow my own.
I'm kidding. Oh shoot! So we have mentioned the flags. I don't know. And that was your question yesterday, wasn't it, Selgovae? Was about
It's
flags.
the one thing that I harp on. I'm a whistleblower, but I don't talk much about my case other than my experiences in the court and how I've noticed that element's missing from inside it. And when I started to dig at it and scratch at it more, I started to realize like there's been a schism on our identity. And I guess to make it most simple is it's a theater of representation. Everything in there is an entity in title, and it's a stage and a theater. So all of the elements within it have meaning in that representation. The emblem of our nation was the Canadian flag. And people will debate about the incident so far back then, and I'll get into that in a minute. But for right now, in 2016, they drafted a policy to enable the removal of that emblem from the theater of representation. And when you take that out, you take all that it represents out with it, your identity. Now, back to that policy. It's called the Policy on Communication and Federal Identity, Expression, and identity. Expression, capacity of will is the expression of it. So if you walk into a theater that's going to judge you, and an element that brings binding recognition within it has been removed, then you've consented to that being so. So what I'm talking about in this policy is the Treasury Board, which is all about the equity of Canada, had directed the courts by edict in section 2.2 of it to remove the flag symbol from all correspondence and to leave remaining their preference, which is a seal. It's the shield. So equity binds the decisions within the court over your rights. And nobody's really kind of noticed or said it. So Gord said last night that Nova Scotia is the only province that I've heard of it that has it inside the court in the correct position of honor. One court in Ontario is crossing the flags that I heard of, which is Port Stanley, I think, or not Port Stanley, Port Colborne in Simcoe County. So that's up, but that's since I've been tracking it. And the Nova Scotia thing, I need to get a photo of what the Nova Scotia court looks like, because there's situations like in Saskatchewan, they've taken all the flags, bundled them in one corner. The flag's not in the position of honor. The judge is not limited within it. It has to be on the bench or bema, otherwise known as a bema. And the flags frame the judge on either side, put him in his limit in the theater. When the Rouleau Commission took place, they had 2 Canadian flags in the center of the floor. And the officers of the court came through that and then exited. And they sat outside the limit. And the limit was just a void door. And it has meaning in the theater. That's why it was just a stage. It was just a setup. Where is this found in legislation to reinforce what I'm talking about? Before that policy on communications and federal identity in 2016 was made, the Conservatives in 2012 created the National Flag Act. And in that, it says that it should be present in a place of honor without quoting it directly. And then it makes a reference to rules and etiquette. And the rules of etiquette are a separate document that you have to look at. And we'll talk about the court layout specifically. As well, in the highest standard, which is the Canadian military court-martial court layout, court configuration, it says it right there. It sets out why and where it goes. So that sets the judge in the theater limit. If you remove that element, he's not bound to it. Now, convoy, which was a great thing. I'm glad I took part in it. It felt great. But there was some things that went on in there that were kind of dodgy in different stages and phases. One of the things, as I said earlier, what your expression of will is your expression of capacity. And what was everybody screaming there? Freedom. Everybody was screaming freedom. They weren't screaming for rights. They were there for rights. They were there for their inherent rights, but they were screaming freedom because they were programmed to ask to be limited. Yeah. Freedoms are within a realm of rules. And the beauty about the word freedom in our legislation is your freedom to association, matter to matter. And when you're talking about situations that are summary or indictable in nature, there's different obligations on you morally. So when the police rolled in and were arresting everybody, they were doing it within a legal limit, because they never said the convoy was unlawful. Go back historically to all the debates in the House when they were speaking about it in a negative way. They never said it was unlawful, not once. They said illegal, 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 always illegal, never unlawful.
Yeah.
Because it was totally fucking lawful.
See, that's what I love about you is we have the same passion for the meaning of words. And we see how important they are.
So in your courts, this flag matter, going back to that, because that's really important. This is important to everybody. I don't care what you're there for. The court is where everything's determined. All statutory rules, acts, and all of that are brought up as they're presumed correct until challenged. If Ontario just turns around and says for a sentence you lose your left hand, until that's tested, once it gets passed through legislation, until it gets tested, it's presumed correct.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to go through a process. Well, the place to where that process is being done now has removed its obligations to your constitutional rights, and now they give it a discretion to maintain an illusion of it being present still, while they work this schism on us more. Identity, most important thing. The word identity, it's two parts: id and entity. Id in classic Latin is it. An entity is a thing. It's an imaginative thing. So when they ask you what's your identity, even by speaking and conversing with them on that terms of capacity, in that dimension of it, as they define it, when they approach you, you're consenting to being in a limit. And there's a whole slew of other ways. This is why lawyers say nothing.
Yeah, because
the summary charge, it says, so if you read the criminal code to further reinforce it, it'll say every space one who commits without a lawful excuse. It doesn't say without a legal excuse. So right there, it's saying that there's a dimensional difference. How is that determined? Who administers you are before the public servant? Who's the master of your will of administration before the public servant? Yeah. When the public servant walks up to you, agent of state, and says, "Excuse me, sir," and you look at him and say, "Hello," and feeling like you're all esteemed and special because he called you sir, you're entitled. And you've just consented to being in a limit that they police under policy. The will that flowed through you participated in that. And therefore they got you. That's why they always say, "Sir, excuse me, sir, ma'am, sir." They just reinforce it, and their body cams are rolling. If you do not correct them at any point, and even then, how you correct them or whether you need to or not, because you don't need to give any identification to a police officer, no matter that's summary or anything that's summary. Woe v. Copeland, that's a big case right there, and it states right in it the common law has precedent on identity. What it was about a police officer demanding identity from a guy in a matter of summary, and he didn't want to give it to him. And that set a huge precedent. And there's other ones, but that's a pretty common one that's cited, I've found in my research. But again, the flag brings recognition to your rights. Your rights cannot be inherent if they're at the discretion of another. Everybody that took an oath of public trust did so with their life to protect and recognize your rights, which means even if you're stupid of them in the moment, but your will is mustering in a correct way to them, they know you didn't shape your tongue. The system did to participate in it. So they have an inherent right within their oath to say, "Okay, this is out of line. Don't worry about it. You go over here," and they talk you out of it if they don't want to reveal the big secrets of it all.
Just to interject, that cat doesn't seem to give a damn that you're doing something serious right now.
That's Doobie.
Just sitting there on his shoulder, totally photobombing you, looking cute as hell.
She's hiding from the black. Yeah, she's hiding from the black one, Balthazar, because he's a younger one. He likes to play with her. So she just takes sanctuary on Big Daddy's shoulder.
That's cute. You're trying to have a serious conversation.
Yeah.
And the cat's there looking all beautiful.
All about words too, like a wizard.
That'd be like a whistleblower cat.
Yeah. Opposite adversary team, man. Cat.
All right, Kirk. So you said the boat is still sinking right now while you're on the live? Like, are people going to die just because you're here, or are we okay? I just don't want to cause harm. There's nobody in the boat, right? I don't think he can hear me. Can you hear me, Kirk? No, he can't hear me. All
No,
right. John. Oh, there
no,
he is.
like there's
There's a delay.
people that live across the way, and 3 boats sunk over the last few days, so I have to get them out. So there's a big time delay here. Shoot.
Oh, really? Are you?
No, there's
It could be because you're watching on different screens.
I can hear you, but the delay, it's really annoying.
Yeah. So when you stepped away for a second, did you and Janice make sandwiches for us, or? Oh boy, it's gonna be hard to crack jokes if there's a 5-second delay. That could kill a joke. All right, John. I'm gonna go to you, John.
See,
I'm hungry now. Where's my sandwich?
Now, John is going to be the devil today because he's got those little horns behind him. But don't. It's just a picture, okay? He's not symbolizing. Doesn't worship the devil or anything. It's a
He's on
wolf.
my
It really
shoulder.
is a wolf behind him. But they all my guests here, have something valuable to share. With Kirk, it is the awareness that something's happening, that there is problems right in the Rangers and the chiefs and councils. And with Selgovae, he's revealing what the courts have done to, disempower. So they're no longer standing under, protocols of the flags. So they can do whatever the hell they want, pretty much. It gives them carte blanche to do whatever they want, whatever they feel on a whim. And then we have John Wick. You might remember him from his movie. One of my favorite movies, by the way. I mean, that poor guy gets his ass handed to him over and over and over, and he keeps winning. So you have another story, and a couple of days ago, 3 people I've met that all have been falsely diagnosed, forcefully medicated against their will. So all these 3 people, Marianne, John, Kirk, have revealed what is going on with our medical and psychological services. The psychiatric, the guy didn't even speak to Kirk, and he created a diagnosis that was false.
Been there
So
too.
this is scary stuff. This is targeting. This is like lawfare, using the medicines and false accusations, false diagnosis, and they're going after the children as we speak, offering them to change their bodies that cannot be repaired or reverted back to original, because children change their mind. So there's the logic right out the window. They may feel one way in one day, the next day they may feel a totally different way. I know, I was a kid, so I can look back and remember that, at least until I get dementia. And then it'll be the dementia table, and I'll just be rambling about anything at that point. Hopefully we will have results before I get dementia, because what they've all done is they've revealed the problems that we have in high office. The problem we have are people like this, people that wear suits and ties. That's who are making all our lives miserable. They don't have anyone to answer to. They have people under them following orders. And that's why
Lawful
Kirk's story
order.
didn't go past the first point. It was getting too close to, so they had to stop it. But he has done his service already. Remedy or no remedy, he's got a lot of weed, so let's all go to his boat together. And until we blow our minds, I'm joking. I'm sorry. I know I do that a lot, even in serious moments, and I can't help myself, because it's just the way I'm always like that. Even at work, I'm like that. My poor boss trying to be serious, and I bring out the humor and make everybody lose their marbles. But it's not a lost cause with these whistleblowers because they revealed something. They lifted the veil for all mankind, and you can get that information. And the fact that nothing's being done about it shows you that it is a very serious situation when we have the army, the rangers. We've got people with a lot of power. They have guns. The army, they're trained to kill. So the government will go after them first. That's why veterans got cut. Their help is cut now. But
They're
yet they're
afraid of
bringing
the
millions of
potential.
people, giving them way more than even our disabled are getting. $8,000 a month. That's a huge, massive amount of money. And what do they give a veteran? Maybe $1,400 or $2,000. I don't even know, but it's a lot less. So that's a sign of betrayal. That's what these guys have done. They showed a betrayal at all levels of the government. And we keep proving it over and over with whistleblower by whistleblower, story by story. We all want to save this country. That's something we have in common. And all the audience, all the people in the audience are the same. They want this country back. So our attempt here is to find ways to do it. Gordon is an example yesterday. He has a way. But the key to that is to unify, to work together, to make peace. Make peace with your enemies. And I'm not talking about the rulers of the country. I'm talking about the war that was created before us, like the mask and the anti-masker. All these divisional tactics. We can't accept it anymore. Go ahead, Subby.
One of the things I want to kind of insert there as we talk about all these other people who want to lead you all in a direction. I'm not hearing any of that. Like, I'm not asking for money from nobody. Never have. I've been in this fight since 2019. I've spent well over 200 grand out of my personal pocket, and that's a fact. And I fought many different ways, and I've never asked anybody for nothing. What I share is exactly that. What I share, it's from the heart. You don't have to pay me money to see this stuff. I don't ask for none of that. So what I'm trying to tell everybody is like one of the things about Convoy was it showed the system what happens when a bunch of people act at once on something. One of the things about it I didn't like, but it was required, was that there was a lot of individuals in there that wouldn't have done nothing if they didn't have a herd to hide in. So as we want our individual rights and property rights recognized, you have to be willing to muster some attempt to demonstrate to the system that you want them. And anybody can go to a court any day of the week, anytime in person, and go through the search. You shouldn't typically, but you got to get into the courtroom, and I could talk about that later. But go through the search because you give up your presumption of innocence when you do that. You're automatically limited. Go into the courtroom. Yep. As soon as the judge opens the record, politely stand in good candor and just put your hand up like this. He's going to raise his, or she's going to raise their eyes, and they're going to see. That's a recognition.
Yep.
And at that moment, politely, I do not observe the emblem of the nation in the position of the honor of the court to the left as I view you. And I am a little bit worried about the people we're going to judge today with that absence of recognition in the court. The judge is going to not accommodate your request, and she's going to do a bunch of word salad to talk around it. And you basically politely and in good candor say you don't like it and leave. Facebook post, talk about your experience, share it with other people. Policy on communications, federal identity is the judge. The judge is not acting without any fear. There's an edict in that policy of communications and federal identity under Section 7 that punishes not only the individual that resists the will of the Treasury Board, but to the agency that houses them as well, all the way up to persona non grata.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put them in that position, and ask your politicians too, all these politicians, I don't care if they start talking, if they're a national pride lean, ask them, what do you think about the policy on communications and federal identity and how it's removed the flag from the court? What's your feelings on the Criminal Code of Canada repeal in 2018 of Section 296.1, blasphemy, libel, indictable for 2 years, only because all oaths of office to public trust or to a constitution under the crown, under God's law, and so help me God. That's the moral standard to which an offense is measured from, if it takes place or not. There can't be a law without a moral code, without a collective moral agreement. This is bad and this is good. And it's written under that. People don't get that. And it bothers me. They will wave these fucking flags with passion on the sides of the streets and get really offended if you take it from them. It means nothing out there. It absolutely means fuck all. In your court is where it has all its representational value, is with its representational presence, and it's gone. And just the equity shield remains to bind the court. And if you don't as an individual act, you have no right to individual rights. Period. You got to muster a fucking will to do something in lawful grace. Or silence as a consent, you're a metroid. Shut up, stop complaining, fucking participate like all the other cattle.
Yep. No, you're right. We actually got a question for you, Selgovae, from Tiss Lynn. She says, have you vetted the cat? Oh my God. We have
She's
great
intact.
people.
She's believe it or not, she's 12 years old and she's intact.
That is so hilarious. And then someone else said, Kirk Riese needs a raccoon hat to fit in with the group. Oh, I love people with good sense of humor. So we're going to have a fundraiser to raise funds to get Kirk a raccoon hat for future episodes. Thank you for making me laugh.
I actually have one here, so
watching.
no need.
Oh, you do? See, he's got a
raccoon
raccoon hat.
I wanted to just.
But it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I just can't hear anything. I'm sorry. It's in and out.
It's okay. If you do have problems, just leave and come back. That's the best way. It does happen.
Maybe I'll have to, but
yep, that's all. I'll bring you back in. Okay. So I do appreciate.
I want to mention something about. Okay, never mind.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Such a time delay here. It's not even making sense. So yeah, I'll try to leave.
No, yeah, because I can
David
still hear
can
you.
Come in. Kirk gets disturbance. It could be from above. Who knows?
Yes, that is always on the back of my mind, because as soon as we started, the speakers went on me. Even though the speakers work fine all night, all day today, as soon as we start, boom, they start messing with me. All right, Kirk, let's give it a shot.
Yeah, one of the reasons about the flag, it takes away our, I think, it takes away our pride, our identity, and they replace it with all these rainbow flags and every other flag and from every other country, and they're trying to make it meaningless to us, and to all of us here, it means a lot. I believe it means a lot, more than most people can ever imagine. You put the flag up when you succeed, when you conquer a country, you put your flag up. It motivates people instead of.
Yep.
You're not fighting for your commanding officers. You're fighting for your countrymen and women. So And they're trying to take all unity away from us, I believe. And regarding the Freedom Convoy, I just want to say, like, over the last week, I have been getting more calls than I have gotten in 6 years altogether from Freedom people that have never heard my story. They're like, what the hell? How come we haven't heard your story? And I said, well, they all know it, but they just don't want it out there. Why? You can ask them, but that's what I encourage people to do is why don't you ask them why they are stories, or John Wick's story, or Selgovae's, or Sue Sproul, or Luke Sabaron, or David Drover, you know, why are they blocking the whistleblowers? It's what Bill C-290, Whistleblower Protection for Canada. It's been in the Senate for years, and they don't want that to move, you know, because that would solve a lot of problems. Imagine if you did something wrong and nobody ever found out about it. They did it wrong. Imagine if you did something wrong and someone said, hey, that's wrong. You will never do it again. They want to keep it going, because if we had whistleblower protection in Canada, or, you know, we would have the truth out and people wouldn't be breaking the laws. So all these people that have just recently contacted me, you know, please add these people, Selgovae and John Wick, and there's a whole slew of other people that have stories as well. And, you know, I've been doing whistleblower spaces for over a year. Every day we get new speakers, we get new stories, and there are tons. There's no shortage of documentation to expose the corruption. You don't have to know my story. Just forget about my story, okay? What people should know, and forget about all the John's and everybody else's story. Forget about that. It's what happened because we tried to tell the truth. It's the reprisal we faced. We've lost everything, most of us, you know, we're done. But why? Because we told it, and that's, oh, I can't understand your story. You don't have to fucking understand my story. You don't have to know anything about my story. You just have to know that something is wrong. And contact us, and contact the people that enforce the law. I'm not sure if many people know this, but the military is the last resort to enforce the rule of law in Canada. Sure, it's supposed to be the police that enforce the law, but the military is what steps in when the rule of law is not forced or enforced. So, you know, that's my rant, but just share these people's stories. If you want to know their stories, ask them. But the thing to remember is, we're all punished because we told the truth. Because in our minds, and all of us are correct, like the reprisal John's gone through and Selgovae, you know, it's massive amounts of people against us in the government, where all it would take is one person of authority, I'm sure, a general or above, to come talk to each one of us, and we could tell our stories and they could make a solution. But these generals, they don't want that, because open a can of worms is what some people say. Well, I think now it's time to open that can of worms. It's time to stand up for the veterans and people of Canada, everybody, you know. So you don't even worry about our stories. Just worry about what happened to us and what we're still going through every day, trying to get the truth out. And I'll leave it at that. Hope you guys heard that.
That's what's so important is just realizing that this is going on. You know, these are authority. They can hurt us, and they have. And once you realize that, then we need to find like-minded people who care about their fellow man and the Canadian culture, because really we're losing that through the mass migration. And that's the whole point of that, is to get them appointed, get them into positions of power.
What started me?
Go ahead.
What started me is when they took an all thy sons command from the you know, that, I'm like, why would they do that? And it's kind of the start of it. And it just got worse from then on. And I never stood up then, you know, because I thought, okay, I see the point of that, you know, whatever. And then it just got worse and worse. And it's going to get worse and worse unless we start doing something about it now. That's my opinion, you know. Maybe someone wants to do that. But that's the other thing. I would love to be called out. I would love to be. Just no one ever asks us any questions about John or Selgovae, but my phone hardly ever rings. You know, it rings a lot of people asking for help from me. Like, can you help with my story? And like, I can have you on our whistleblower spaces, and you can tell, and I can press share. But that's about all I can do.
Yeah, same here.
How quick?
Sounds
When I was
big.
arrested on the morning of February 18th, 2022, and I was on that arrest list. So exact same time Pat King was getting snatched. And for those who haven't seen the video of it, check it out. The one that was done on me at the exact same time was like 4 jurisdiction SWAT teams. I was in 2 moving vehicle packet. They dragged me from a car and they brought me to this warehouse and to cells, and they weren't ready for me cells, then back to the warehouse. Then they were ready for me at the warehouse. And it was an interesting setup. Just me in this warehouse. 3 buses of people had to wait outside while they were processing me. And so the guy that was up front was OPP Intelligence. And he had 3 other guys beside him. I came to find out later one was the OPP Special Teams Commander. He spoke at the Rouleau Commission, did an oath of the Eagle Feather. And there was 2 others. So the guy speaking to me, this is good. I'm getting to my point. The guy speaking to me, he followed a lot of the stuff, must have, that I was chirping online when I didn't think anybody was listening. And I was speaking the words and stuff. And he holds up his forearm. There's a tattoo on his forearm that runs from his elbow down the blade of his forearm to his wrist. And it's in Irish Gaelic, and it's a poem by Patrick Pearse. And he held it up and he just looked at me. He says, "You know what that means?" And what it was Tirgan Teigna, Tirgan Anan, which is a land with no tongue is a land with no soul. And your words are used against you. And the capacity to which you express is how your will wants to be seen. And you didn't shape your tongue. And if you didn't research to the root of these words and where they're from, like, for example, Special Assembly of Chiefs, Assembly of Special Chiefs of Indigenous Peoples. Wow, that sounds nice, eh? Special means other than usual, which immediately means it's not something that was inherent in process. So right away, you're outside that. And indigenous is from the root word indigent, which means in want and need. And in order to intentionally to enhance it, to intentionally apply the OUS, you must drop the T, and the OUS goes in. And OUS as a suffix means fulsome capacity. You identify as in full want and need, in full covet. And are you the master of anything? Fucking anything. If you identify in that capacity. And that's what they're doing. Your tongue wags your soul, man. I guess it's all about representation. Once you realize the scripture to go, the place that makes sense in it is Job 32:21. I pray, Lord, let me put no flattering title upon man or accept any upon man's person. Man's person. That's the individual's extraterrestrial, because terrestrial means earthling. Entity. Right? Alien. A lien. And a lien is a legal word on loan. You're registered. Gist is similar. Get the gist? Kind of, sort of. Your words are used against you, and the interpretational lens to which they come out of your mouth in a court in their rules and process, because it's default civil process. It's default. Your freedom of association is where you try to speak out of it. I'm not a Canadian in this matter. It doesn't benefit all Canadians if I was to submit to this in this way generally. So I don't want to do it. I think it's a bad idea. That's freedom. Freedom of association. It's a symbol of the crown and all its nations and members within the Commonwealth, which we could go there if you guys want to, but I think all people really need to understand for the common, you've lost your identity as a nation and what it is to be a Canadian. They took the flag symbol from all correspondence, from all offices that are legal or quasi-judicial in nature. In their tongue, what it means is legal positivism as an interpretation of law has taken the monopoly of it. Legal positivism applies no consideration to morality. Natural law theory does. So up until 2018, when they did that repeal of Criminal Code 296.1, Canada functioned through an interpretation that was primarily through legal positivism, with a regard and recognition to natural law. It's gone now. All they're trying to do right now is provide an illusion of it's still present for a couple generations as they educate the new ones to come in under a different, and that's where you enter your gender identity politics. The word gender never existed as a word before 1955, invented by John Money of Tavistock, Dr. John Money. And so the word gender, two parts. Gen means natural. Der, as the suffix, takes the natural and it makes it an agent noun. So agent, title. So right away, what's your gender? And you consent and speak in those terms. And before 1955, man was used ubiquitously between what we now call genders in property rights. If you were a lady and you had property, you would be in terms of law. It was in the masculine context, which the property rights were written out. And that's not a modern construct. This is another thing. This goes right back to the beginning, to Mesopotamia and Varna before them. But the Abrahamic stuff is a graft off of the Abrahamic scripts, or a graft off of the Mesopotamian scripts, which goes back to the star that they talk about. So when people have evoked this reference to the Star of David in Amos, and a scripture in Amos, it's not accurate. Amos lived in the 8th century. That Star of David never showed up until the 3rd century BC. So the one that Amos was talking about, it's known as the Dinger, and it's an 8-pointed star. It's two Paleo-Hebrew symbols overlaid. One's the Tet and the other one's the Tav. It's the first double cross of mankind. It's when man started adopting titles of the heavens in text. So if you looked at old cuneiform Paleo tablets, when they're writing out their stories from back then, whenever you see that 8-pointed star, beside it is a name of a titled entity. Man was turned to stone. And Hedwana, in he of Anna. Firstborn of Sargon, loved first beyond all other of his children, but refused to create naturally. Was a crossdresser. Because in temple, that's what they did. In temple would play out the theater of creation, and the lady characters, what we call lady characters, could not be, because they're property of a man. They were either still property of their father, or they were dowried and married off to another man. As that's why it's said the way we do now. And the root of that, and why that is like that, is because the logic is rooted in the reality that intention creates. The will of intent. And man is a master of that creation of ourselves. In a primal way, I don't endorse this, and I'm not trying to sound like a misogynist when I say it. It's the way they reckoned it out back then. Is that a woman could want to have a child till the cows came home, but it wouldn't happen until man applied an intention, good or bad, and seeded her with intention. And the fruit of his will, the fruit of his loom, which is his nervous system, would be that child. Now he's responsible for that. That is the fruit of his loins, and he is responsible for its progress. And there was an old, that's the old school logic to how that all worked. But we've been shooken up a bit since then, and if it was even a good thing then, who knows? Apparently, we've been chasing it forever. John, what do you think of that?
It's really messy, everything. People can't log in, people get everything. Like it's messed up. And it's not a conspiracy when every time you do something, there's a pattern of the internet getting shut down. It's not, it's the pattern of going somewhere and everybody disappear from the street. Everything is locked down. Like what's going on? Just casually going to the grocery store and it's empty everywhere. Then you go around and you see all those federal car going around. And well, they locked down an entire grocery store for me to do grocery because they don't want me to see anybody they don't want me to talk to. It's fucked up. It's been going for years, and I heard some rumors about how much it costs to just box in some people, and it's millions and millions of dollars being funneled to just suppress people's voice, suppress freedom of speech, and harass, bully, slander, defamation, and all the above, just to make whistleblower not able to whistle and to shut them off. And the amount of money they're spending in those budget, it's if people knew the truth, they will be outraged. And yet it seems that nobody get accountable for those stuff. I have been right down on the Ottawa police page, and they shut down all people to comment for a week. Then they reopen it up, and I comment again, and they shut it down. And the chief of police, Eric Staub, make a press release about the budget, and I write down on it that he should be arrested for domestic terrorist and human rights abuse and attempted murder. And it is bad to have a chief of law enforcement doing domestic terrorists because everybody working under him, well, they work for somebody who they do human trafficking, attempted murder. I'm sure they have done disappeared a lot more than that. I heard some data that Ontario is worse than California on about of unresolved murder that could be linked to organized crime. And nobody want to investigate. Nobody want to do anything about it. Police officer follow unlawful order. Military doing unlawful order. They are all apolitical, but they are all political in the same way. Their hands are tied, but at one point it's fucked up. Like last year, I was driving, and police officers start flying by behind me. So I pull on the side, let him go on his emergency, and he pulled behind me. So I called the 911, let him then know that I feel unsafe with him engaging on me. And I spent 41 minutes on the 911 asking them to disengage. And they never cared about anything. Ended up being on the side of the road with spike all around my vehicle, having a police cruiser in front of my bumper, and another police cruiser in my rear bumper, and a lot of cruiser and police officer around. I'm on the 911 asking them to disengage, explaining on the 911, which is all recorded, that they are threatening my life. They had me shackled, tortured, and nearly killed in the past, and I want nothing to do with them. Ask them to disengage. I haven't mentioned them that I have diplomatic immunity. They shouldn't engage on me, and even if they do, it won't reach court because they got immunity. It's going to be thrown down. But they don't care. They just they use violence over and over again. One of the officer was using his retractable stick and tapping in his hand to threaten me and telling his buddy that he wanted to smack my window. So I asked his other partner, can you advise your peers to sheath his weapon? Because if you want to use escalation of force, that's not going to end well for anybody around here. And they just don't care. They outman you, they outgun you, they'll track you down, they do whatever they want. You drive around, their computer tell them to arrest you, and they arrest you. They don't do due diligence. They put you at risk over and over.
Can I ask you some questions so I kind of have a sort of an understanding?
Yeah, more context. Yeah.
Just about how they're interacting with you. And don't take anything that I'm saying. I just want to know, like, before you became active, say, awake, I'm going to presume since 2019. Anything before 2019, were you on their radar for anything? You don't got to say what specifically, but were you in any kind of radar of fires and things like this?
I was based in Gagetown, New Brunswick, and I had that spine injury in 2016. They did everything to deny my service-related injury. In 2019, they kicked me out for breach of adversity of service after I lost my house due to the flooding in Fredericton. And
what did you do? What was your job?
About what?
You were in the military?
Yes.
And what did you do?
Royal Canadian Dragoon.
Dragoon, RCD. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. I know a lot of guys from there.
Yeah.
All right. So you got out, and then you got involved with convoy, and then you started noticing a lot of familiar tactics from the past.
Well, I was trying not to have any digital dust. I've never been on social media for myself, never put anything. And after they assaulted me and threatened me to stretch it out in court until my legal fee forced me to bankruptcy and make me live in the street with my wife and kid, I told them game's on, and it's been a shit show ever since. But I literally told them, do your worst, because I don't care. The only thing they do exposing themselves, because I know who's watching me, I know who's watching my back, and I know who's hacking into their system for my protection. And all their system, the Ottawa police, it's all act, it's all compromise. The OPP, it's all compromise. Even the military police is compromised. The entire Canadian military is compromised.
Right.
And
how many deployments did you do?
I've never been overseas.
You never did deployments? Okay, so how long were you in?
2011 to 2019.
Okay.
8 years.
So, but it's not a matter of the deployments about stimulus response to situations, right? So that's one thing. And what I've noticed with some veterans that from service, a lot of the stuff is hypersensitive. Like, so if you've been in a trauma, like a direct trauma situation, that certainly has an amplifier to this is my words, a baseline condition. And the baseline condition is basically living in an environment of people of a mixed backgrounds of all that stuff, but with the same problem solving skill process, which is like, get it done, right?
Yeah.
And so when we recognize veterans in particular, because we're familiar with a lot of the processes and logistics, like even you mentioned it, like the cost to do a box in on you, for example, how you recognize that that's present. A lot of public don't, and that's a red flag right away. You're like, fuck, man, I'm being profiled specifically, because they don't do that unless they're actually targeting an individual. And then you try to tell people about it, and of course you're seen by people who don't understand that. That's crazy. Or at the very least, in a state of scary, heightened anxiety, and
I'm multilinguistic, so every time there was something to do, I will volunteer because I can speak more than one language, and it's always easier to mix with the French soldier and the British soldier and the Australian and African and every other allies. And the American soldier, if you're multilinguistic. So I've been around a lot of plays that I was tasked to do for training with a lot of higher ops in NATO. And I keep telling the cops, NATO Article 5, an attack on one is an attack on all. And I remind them that I've been working at higher level than any civilian, and they shouldn't fuck around with me. But they keep coming at me. It's fucked up.
So one of the problems that happens with guys like, and I've dealt with this myself, I personally involved myself in this kind of way, and it's a ratchet strap kind of, because as you disclose what you think is present and why you think it's present. They weaponize that against you. And they say, this guy is near the edge. He believes this is here. Does he own guns? What does he got? Does he do this? Is he, and it works against you.
I even sent them a
Tragic.
letter. I even sent them a letter explaining I was in my regiment and close quarter combat team. I'm used to disarm firearm, knife, and fight close quarter combat.
Don't
and
dazzle
I'm
people with that stuff. And don't,
good
yeah, don't.
marksman, and they don't care.
Well,
Like,
and,
keep
and,
your officer
and right
away.
away,
But,
just leave it at that. Like, I could tell you
Yeah.
crazy ass shit that taught me too, but it doesn't do you
Yeah.
any good. It's not.
they just flag me for dangerous, and they go IRS every time they talk to me. I call them. They used to call me back, but they'll send people to arrest me at the Tim Horton, and they'll send people to arrest me at the grocery store, or a cops on the side of the road waiting right outside of where I live every time I leave, and they see my plate and they intercept me. It's,
Dude, if they know I'm going to the courthouse, and this is, I'm not kidding you. If I go to the courthouse and they're aware of it, the OPPER team arrive and they had the whole.
Yeah. I told them that they follow unlawful order. I don't care what kind of briefing they add. They still have to do their diligence before assaulting civilian in the street, and they don't care. And I even told them their own king admit that Canada ceded land, and the Governor General Mary Simons. I was there when she also acknowledged that Canada ceded land, and as
What I
native
think
of
is
the
like.
land, they have no
Yeah,
right
but
of action.
you're not gonna win them over, John, in that debate like a
It's
roadside
not
with a
the
patrol
it's
cop.
not the point. They have their body cam on it, and
Right. So
they know. I know
So
my
here's some more
audience.
quote. Here, I suggest that this would actually do you way more, and it only suggest you can take it or leave it. But you know they pull you over. You know the bigger picture's going on. You don't want to say it on the body cam. You're not going to say that. What you're going to say to the officer that pulls over to you as soon as he does is say, before I even begin to consider interacting with you, what's your oath?
Mhm.
He's going to evade that.
The
What?
last couple of times I called the 911, I
Whoa.
mentioned them. I have no time for it, and for
Slow
wasting
down.
my
Whoa.
time is going to be 200 grand for the interaction if they detain me.
Yeah, John,
unlawfully.
don't get off track here for a second until I get to where I want to go. So you ask him the oath. He's going to evade it. The reality is he has it in his notebook, but don't tell him to go there yet. Just say you're not going to tell me your oath. There's something else. So serve and protect you. For who? For what? What's your oath? Tell me your oath. How can you use my words against me if you have no idea of the words you're limited to? If the matter is summary, he's going to fucking jaw's going to drop, and he's going to step back and he's going to think for a second before he does anything more. Because his fucking body cam just got that. When you let your PTSD trigger off and then you start speaking too fast and you start citing ICCPR and all this shit to a roadside cop, that's
above their pay grade.
They don't know it. They don't. And if they do, they don't need to.
Yeah, and look how much training they have. What, 6 weeks?
You're driving in a registered car with a registered plate. You got a registered driver's license. You're registered 5 ways from Sunday. Who knows how many consents they did? How many times did they call you sir and you just kept on talking to them? All right, like it hits a point where you've made too many expressions of will that you're so deep into it now you're seen as illiterate by them in their jurisdiction. Your words are used against you. So,
yeah.
So,
it's basically when they come up, if you're going to make a big debate and stand about capacity in the moment, you just challenge them on the fact of, do you know your job right now? Because it's a summary of what we're doing right here. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to leave me alone. Have a nice day. The second that they touch you, you're calm. You don't get into a debate. You don't debate with these fucking guys. The second that they touch you, you know you're going for a 48-hour trip.
Yep.
All right?
More than that.
Selgovae.
Oh, you go dead weight. You tell them, I'm going dead weight. Your will is leaving your body. And they have to carry you. They're now liable for your safety and protection because there's been no determination of your capacity. None. They're presuming.
Yeah.
They can't presume you in a limited capacity when you have a greater one, like your mustering needs to be recognized. When you get in a cell and they close the door one time and you hope they fucking ignore you, I want a King James Version Bible, and then sit down and wait till you see a justice of the peace. If they bring you one, you're just going to go to job 32 of 21, mark the fucking page, and you're not going to be excited and all anxiety because it's magnified because of your accent in an English court, for sure.
What was the verse? Job what?
Job 3221. I pray, Lord, put no flattering title. Let me put no flattering title upon man's person or accept that.
Yep.
Okay? And it's about that star that I told you about, that 8-pointed star, the Tet and the Tav. The Tet is representational to today's letter I, lowercase. And the Tav is like an X. It was the end of the original letter structure of 22 characters. X marks the spot. So when they did that, and they did that, and then as it evolved, because through symbol representation, the Tet, then they put a circle around it, like a crosshair. And when you go into, as it evolves, it's representational of a clay pot, an empty clay vessel, and then they put a crown on it, which is the title.
Yeah.
So
I have a question.
This stuff is only important because when you make the references to the scripture, even the scriptures, like King James Version Bible is an allegory. It's an allegory of an allegory of an allegory. And that's the important thing to know.
Yes.
It's been moved from Latin. And so all the characters and the story of everything changes.
Yep. You're right.
The first creation story that we have on record that was written by man's hand, okay, of creation, is that a Sumer. Thousands of years before Christ, as it should be, but that's the creation story. And it's not even about Mesopotamia. It's about a place before that, pre-flood.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For both of you. I'll get Selgovae to answer first. Do you think the police force will willingly participate in martial law if asked?
Well, that's a hypothetical. I
Okay,
guess you'd have to go. I would suggest before John. You'll take a second here. What happened during COVID, Noah? I know there was a divide, but there was participants. Those were UN troops. Those UN planes that landed in North Bay, that's real. They fucking shit them out in North Bay, and they went straight down like a beggar could spit fucking Highway 17 to a base in Ottawa. They were geared up, deputized, and then put on the street and played stupid. One thing that Danny Bulford did of the convoy leadership that I thought was interesting is when he tried to get arrested. The first two that he went to, and I think he knew it, they were probably from Belgium or France. Those characters, they were UN police, and they didn't know how to speak what he was saying, because Parisian French is different than Quebecois. So they just sent him on his way. They didn't know. They didn't even have arrest powers. They were just a human wall with sticks. All right. Go ahead,
And John, what do you think, John?
It's a case by case basis. It's if they're in front of a wall and there is a point of no return, they have to make a choice. Then we'll see. The time will tell if they make it the wrong side on the good side. But until the point of no return is in front of them, we'll never know. And there is a CIA unconventional warfare that's talked a lot about it, having a few key people getting higher rank and flipping the full thing, going up and down.
Well, Selgovae, you've been in the military, so do you think if the military was called upon to enforce martial law, that they would do that? Or do you think some would fight back?
Well,
Inside of the land, it depends, because I got friends in every province, because I've served with people coming from every province, and there is no way I'm going to go against my friend's family or my friend's friends or anybody in the country that I swear to protect. But if there is an unlawful order and things happen, then it could be peer pressure, it could be whatever, and you never know, because there is technology that if they refuse to follow an order, they could be neutralized and in a way that's more than permanent.
Yeah, they could
So it
falsely
depends what they do.
diagnose you, and force medicate you. We've seen that over and over again.
Yeah, they had me shackled and forcibly poking me on each arm every day. And every day I was telling them, I do not consent. I want to speak with my chief. I want to speak with my lawyer. I want to speak with the chief of police. I want to speak with the internal affair officer I was in contact with. And I named them by name. So they can't say I didn't know who they were. And the only answer I had is, well, we can't release you, or you're going to go in a cell. So you may as well just stay here, enjoy the nicer bed and the nicer food in the hospital. But then every day they would send a dozen or half a dozen of people with bulletproof vests and stick in the hospital, and all the door are magnetic. There's no way to hide. And they want me to go in the room. Okay. And they shackle me. Well, what am I supposed to do? And they poke me every day. Well, I don't consent. How I react to it tells more about myself than them. And after a few weeks, I told them I've shown no sign of violence for the past couple of weeks since I'm here unlawfully. And every day I'm telling you I'm here unlawfully. You deny me my lawyer and everything, and you want to torture me. So what do you guys want to do?
what province?
Ontario.
Really?
Yeah, the Ottawa Regional Hospital is involved with human trafficking, human rights abuse, bioterrorism, and I've even called out there the doctor. I will go to jail.
What year?
2020, 2021, 2022, 2023.
I was in the Walkerton courthouse to speak to a firearms matter that was put on me by the world's largest nuclear power plant. When I got in there to speak to it, I was jumped by the ERT on uttering death threats, and I was dragged to Penetang.
And yet, Article 19 on freedom of speech, you can say whatever you want without fear of reprisal, but they don't care about your freedom of speech.
Yeah. So I was in an evolutionary learning phase at this point, we'll call it. And I was also fucking around finding out too, because you don't know limits unless you test them. So I spent 14 days in SEG, and it was clear to me at a point in those 14 days that I was either becoming more crazy or I was sitting in a prearranged theater. Like the guy on the left and right of me in their SEG cells were fucking actually actors.
Yeah,
and
do that a lot.
And it was all to measure me. And I believe that.
They send paid actor to go around you and just to get information, to poke you, to see if you're violent or not. And they want to profile you. And some people are paid to befriend you, so you will open up and tell them stuff that they're going to use against you. It's fucked up.
I think at that point, what happened was there was a concern from the power plant that I was in a certain profile of threat. And there's security management there that was actually talking about it. We're putting a lot of cayenne pepper and spice and chilies on the fucking story. And it was taken at face value. And I think once they got me in that controlled environment, I was measured for a number of different type of reactionary response things through interactive stuff that went down. I believe that. So it was kind of because I don't want to talk a whole lot right now about what they claim, why they should be afraid, and if that's real or not. because it's well, first of all, I've always said that there's nobody. The only thing they're gonna have to worry about is my words.
Well,
So-
there's no statute of limitation in matter of national defense, and if for a domestic threat is coming from law enforcement, then it's pretty bad, and it's just a
I'm
matter of
aware
time.
all of that,
before it goes
but
fucked
again,
up.
it's sort of like look at Kirk's story. All right. So, like, if you just go on the sense that the law says this, and this, and you wave that around like it's got some kind of value,
You need leverage to have it enforced.
it doesn't, because you gotta apply it in such a narrow way of process. This has to happen for that, has to happen for this, and this is relevant in that, but not here and there. And should have done this, that, and yeah. It's designed like that on purpose. So whenever you go to the state for remedy, you're speaking to them. You got to be careful about how you speak to them, because if you speak to them as a member of the body, it's going to deal with you differently. Well, like if you're under representation, if you're going to plead to the state for assistance in something, you're probably better off getting representation. If you're going to defend on the first agent that interacts with you, like prisoner of war style, the first fucking cop that speaks to you, if you cannot communicate with that individual in a civil, candorous way that diffuses it, then you got to go dead weight and do the ride that way. Because you're not going to win against them. You're not.
They don't even care.
And they're going to write you up like a fucking idiot, and you're going to get more frustrated.
Yeah.
You're not going to win.
That's why I know my audience, and when they have cameras running around, and I'm in the back of their cruiser, and I let them know how bad they are doing, and I do hope that the camera reach the court, but they lose all those police
They don't
cruiser
care
court.
about that.
They don't care.
They
when I go
burn
to
and
court,
hide evidence.
yeah.
Like
When I go to court and I ask about it, and they lost evidence, well, how can you take them seriously when they are falsifying evidence? And over and over and over again, I got like more than 50 times in court in the past 5 years, and they keep losing evidence. They refuse to disclose. They lose them, and then I show them a copy of it. Well, we have to authentify it. Well,
You
I've
ever,
asked
you ever
the
notice the Canadian flag
prosecutor.
inside that courtroom to the left of the judges? You see them?
They don't even care
You
about
don't
any
know.
of it.
You don't know. You don't know.
Mhm.
If you saw, did you even go to the courthouse, or did you do it through a computer? Because you're not going to get any fucking rights through a computer. You physically
No.
have to go.
Yeah.
And you
And the
physically
flag-
have to expect the other party to be there.
And the last court I
Yeah.
I shared the transcript on my Facebook. It's been at the top, and I grilled the prosecutor, not even had the integrity to show up to work because he was on Zoom.
But grilling,
I'm there in the
grilling
room
these
by myself. You don't care.
on, I'm gonna say that I think I'm starting to see a pattern here, man. Like grilling these people, I've done it. It don't work unless there's a
Yeah.
purpose to why you're doing it, and you're doing it in order to buy time, create a fucking way to a means to an end, or expose something generally, and you just don't give a shit what happens to yourself. Then fine. That's logical, I guess. But if the judge is the third party in the room, supposed to be, I get it, but they're supposed to be. So you cannot give them
Yeah.
any ability to interpret other than. So when you grill a prosecutor, it doesn't look good on you.
It didn't
as
look good at
opposed to,
all.
like, you put solid questions to them that they couldn't answer.
Yeah.
But
And you want to see the flag on the right behind them, like this. If you don't see that, right? It's the right
to
position.
the left of the judges, you observe.
Yeah.
The judge is
look for it.
possessive, right? Your left is you observe.
Yep. Exactly.
So in your screen, as I look at it right now, it would be correct. That seems correct. But if it isn't sitting there like that, then it's not. It doesn't. And the provincial flag should be on the other side. The
Yeah.
position of honor, the pole position.
Yep. Yep.
But when
And
you
see,
go,
a lot of people
John,
don't
but I
think of
want
it.
to say something to John. So, like, to not confuse him, because you need to know this. In 1998, Ontario Court of Appeals, a First Nations gentleman, asked to have the Canadian flag removed from the court so that he could testify, and he was accommodated. And so because he was accommodated, and it's the appeal stood on it, it says two things. one, it was by default there all the time. And two, it could be removed to accommodate the sensitivities of a First Nations gentleman. You as a veteran, when you're in it, want it there to accommodate you. And they refused you. So you can, it's called standi loci, and it's stand on location, stand on precedent. So you invoke, if you look that up, Canadian Flag in Court, Ontario Court of Appeals, 1998, jam that into Google, it'll come up. You can read it.
They're highly fraudulent too. There is no privacy. When I was in jail, they will open up the meal little door and they put all the phone through it. I have to crouch and be able to speak through the door to that phone when everybody in the wings can hear everything. Which
I did that too.
They're
It's
not
expensive
supposed to
as
do
well.
that.
Each one of those phone calls, if you used your time up, each one of those phone calls is like $150 to whoever took the call.
Yeah, just to deny us our freedom of speech and to bully and harass and coerce us, it's fucked up.
You know,
And
like so the stuff that I'm talking about here is like, in a summary matter, you're at a protest or some unreasonable bylaw or police on a bylaw matter come and interact with you. How do you talk your way out of it? And once you get yourself into this process, because I just say, like, you know, if you don't know what you're saying, you got to get a lawyer. If you don't know how to get yourself out of a fucking accusation by the time that you've talked yourself out of a cell, if you can't talk yourself, even if you can't talk yourself out of a cell by yourself. After Convoy, it was one of the things I said to a couple of people that were close to me in what we would call the movement. I just said, listen, what people need to learn is how to be arrested and how to talk themselves to the point that they're sitting on their couch and they can reflect whether they want to lawyer up or not. It's not you got to do something or got to do the rest. It's how do I get arrested because I already presume I'm going to something where I'm going to be arrested on a matter which is summary. What can I do to protect my rights up to the point that I get on a couch and out of a cell and talk myself out on bail?
Last time I was in jail, there was 9 different lawyers that refused to take my case from legal aid. 9 different ones.
Would have been because you were telling them about how to do their job and all the citations.
No, I wouldn't even contact them. The duty lawyer would contact them, ask them to take my case, and they will all decline. So I just go back to court the next few days. The lawyer declined. We'll try another one, and just in a couple few days, try another one, and a couple few days, try another one. It's total bullshit.
It is, because if you do the shotgun blast 10 calls in one day, one calls you back, and then okay, and then 3 hours later another one will call you, and you actually like that one better, and then you gotta fucking, you know, it's a process, man. It's fucking not fun. Yeah. But any individual can come up with a standard operating procedural plan of awareness.
I keep asking them to go to international court and follow common law, the law of the land. They don't want to do it. And I got, it's the Supreme Court of Canada already acknowledged the Native Tribunal as the Supreme Court of the law. Highest authority, body of authority on the land. So if I got immunity from the Supreme Court of Canada, why did they want me to go to all the other courts? It make no sense. Just wasting money, wasting time. It's fucked up.
Bro, I'm gonna say again that, like, when they come up to you, I've been arrested a lot. Not as much as like I'm not saying I'm a criminal. I'm not a criminal. Just in the freedom stuff. Since 2021, I've been arrested 6 times. I've sat in cells 6 times and I had to talk myself out.
Yeah, sometimes you're suspicious of being suspicious, then they arrest you, they bully you, and it's a big circle. It never ends.
Well, the reason why I had to deal with all of this is because before all that began, I launched a federal human rights complaint against the nation's largest nuclear power plant for denying legislated and operating license accommodations for mental health support to their armed security force. And when I did that, bad luck just begins. So a lot of the stuff that you've defined and spoke about of your experiences, I'm familiar with them. I know what it feels like.
And I'm not stupid. I know they don't like me because January 29 last year, I went to court and I've denounced the Crown and the Governor General for crime against humanity and human rights abuse.
Not going to get you anywhere there, dude. That's so
they
far.
Just beat me up on my way out, and they kept coming. Like,
it's painful for me to hear because I share your passion. I do, man, and I know that you are correct in feeling you got to do something. And I know that I said you got to muster to do something. And when I run into guys like you with your energy, I wish I could just put a standard operating procedure for you in your head.
I haven't been allowed to see my kid last 2 years, so there's no way I back down because I want to see my kid.
Yeah, if I could put an SOP into your head for immediate action drills on chance contact, direct contact, all that through a lawfare lens, using a language we're familiar with, then it's much easier because it removes all the panic. You go into fucking robo mode, man, and you understand that other parts that you've already set up are moving when you're in that. So you're not invoking international covenants and stuff with a provincial summary matter and just they don't give a shit.
Yeah, they don't care.
So
mistrial and harassment over and over.
That's why I say when you ask for that Bible and they close the door and they don't bring it to you, your next appearance that you have for bail when you sit in front of a justice of the peace. And what I've done is I sit there and I just say a presumption's been made about my capacity in a matter that's summary. And to prove it, I'm going to ask you to refer right now to the police officer's notes because I've never told him who I am, what I am. And if he used the words male, he's outside it and he's in a presumption of capacity right away. If he wrote down and went on a computer, looked up, and he's got date of birth in his notes, he's made a presumption.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of presumptions that have been made about my capacity in this matter that's summary. And they let you go because they don't want to get in trouble.
And I don't know if we can see it there, but my sex is X. Cost me 30% cheaper on car insurance, vehicle insurance, and again, stupid if it works. And when they send me to mental health hospital, I'm allowed not to have a male's room and have my own private room. They don't like it, but they have no other choice. They don't even know what I am.
John, when you showed me that as proof, you've just demonstrated that's an adjoiner to a limited capacity.
They're fucked.
You got a
don't
question?
Know what I said, eh?
What about syntax?
Pardon me?
You got a question? What about syntax? On what you were talking about earlier, but
so this term, I don't claim I know everything. I think people start to think that because maybe the way I pursue some of the topics.
No, it's because you do know a lot.
The term syntax, I had the way that works. I had a postmaster type guy come up and talk to me once about the logic and how the word craft works. I think I'm starting to. I work through just an understanding and awareness of the history of the language and what some words are grafted from, and because they are that, it changes the way that you see a situation. What do I mean? An example would be the word world. When you say the word world, if you presume a rock in space, that would be an incorrect presumption. Because what it really is it's grafted from a Greek word that is cosmos with a K. And that is grafted from the Aramaic Paleo-Hebrew beginning, which is unity or order. And because it's Greek, so context determines whether it's in a state of unity or order. Why? Because unity is to coagulate. Order is in reference to dividing things. It's associated with the word light. The root of the word light means box. It's a box. Prove me wrong. The beginnings of the word light is from a box. And when you're enlightened, you radiate within that firmament, that containment. And the only way you do that through is an expression of will, which is through your words. It is why the fucking preamble is written the way it is, recognizing the supremacy of God and the rule of law, which means the will that flows through an individual, if it's correctly expressing in a recognized syntax, lexicon, then it is received in that recognition. When that flag was there, I'm telling you that there was a binding obligation of recognition to even a mustering. You didn't have to knock it out of the park. You just had to, through your acts and the mustering of your words, that would be recognized. But it's gone now. With intention, on a policy drafted in 2016, after an appeal in 2018, and then a modification to the said policy was applied in August 2019, and the policy of communications and federal identity was put into force right before COVID and right before acts and mandates became so fucking gotta do it. Because the courts were aligned with the concept by removing and reducing your emblem of your nation, which brought recognition to all your rights under God. Now they're attacking the Bible because they're aware that people are waking up to these connections between the invocation of rights. When the cell door closed, give me a Bible. Don't give it to me. Fuck you. All right. Well, it's a summary matter, right? Everybody's presumed who I am. I'm not a male. I'm a ver. V-I-R. Man, husband, hero. Ver. Or I'm man in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, Part 6, in relation to Christian Science. Bye. I'm not the digit every space one. I'm section 7 of the charter, the first word, everyone. One word, which is a collection of individuals. Back to my point about that before.
I think my shows are too short.
It's kind of hopscotching around on the subject. I don't know if I make sense when I'm saying it. It just flows out, right? So it's not rehearsed. Nothing's kind
I think it depends on education, understanding what you're saying, the words you're saying. So
it's from a lot of fucking around and finding out, though, Paul. I only got grade 9. I got an anxiety disorder. I've been fucked with.
I do have a question. I do have one more question for both of you, because we're gonna shut down. But I do want to ask one question, and it's more on a personal basis. So it's really a personal question. Do you think Canadians are going to save their country? Do you have hope?
I'll go first.
Selgovae.
Recently, I saw in BC some talking legislator about legislation about the importance to restore the flag in their offices and all of that. That was actually, I took that as a signal across the bow that the country is starting at the political level unite around these things. The conservative fight against C9, okay, that's they're fighting C9 right now. So if I know that you have a large PPC audience and they all hate Pierre Poilievre and his party, but the fact of the matter is Max ain't sitting in there swinging for you. So they're holding off the beast as it is right now quite well. Actually, I'm pretty impressed with some of their frontline debaters that they got going in there. Lott, Cooper,
the intent is there,
and they're savage. Brock went hard on religion in particular.
The problem is they're showing intent by these bills.
Yeah.
And they're still sitting there. They're still, even though they did that, they still have power. So,
well, what I see is an anchor to a recognition of a moral recognition, right?
Yeah.
They're keeping one foot in that aisle. And as I said before this COVID smoking crap fucking hit us, Canada's default recognition at that point was legal positivism with a recognition to natural law theory. But it's now that natural law theory has been thrown out the window and they hope we forget it. And they're doing everything they can to make us forget it. This party as the opposition right now, I think, is doing a very good job at what they're supposed to be doing, which is stop that shit from fucking getting any deeper and do it fucking happening. And I'm optimistic that in that sense, I'm not fully black-pilled yet. I'm not.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, I appreciate your time so much. I think I probably express myself and how much I love it when you come on the show. because and you know, I don't, people say I'm intelligent, but I don't think I'm intelligent. You know, I think I'm humble maybe, but I don't think I'm intelligent. There's always so much more to learn, and you know, and you're doing the same thing. You're just sharing things you already know. You know, and some people may perceive that as intelligence, but it's really based on compassion, caring for your fellow man, that we even look.
Just
That
a
we even
different
look
set
at
of
it, right?
experiences than most people, right? Like, so, and not all either. You
Yeah.
know, like it's just there's a person from an unfortunate fucking end of the street somewhere in some major city that has a lot of life skills that you're not aware of. Some people might not be aware of. Everybody can learn something from everybody, right? Just I maybe some of this crazy weird Cliff Clavin shit that I've always known now has a particular resonance with people, and the fact that it's my position to stand in as I did with some of the backed by some of the stuff that I was taught will temporarily make me unique in a way, I guess. I hope useful for the greater good. It sure is my
I
intent.
appreciate you though.
Spectacular agenda. I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me an ability to express myself here as I do and have my rants, because I live an otherwise pretty isolated life, man. So I really appreciate that. I know that I speak outside perhaps a narrative that maybe some of your audience and their political leanings sit. The fact that you're open enough to tolerate me, to ask some hard and awkward questions that should make it difficult for everybody. You know, this flag stuff, ask any politician. It's just for fun to watch them fucking wince when you do it, because they will. So
I hope you will come back.
Hold on to your individual powers, learn how to speak to them, unpack these words.
Yes.
Okay. Every like our people that we call First Nations, which I think is probably one of the most appropriate ways for an Englishman to try to refer to it, if you don't know how to twist your tongue around their tongue and their individual cultural habitations, if you want to call that, tribes, bands, and so forth.
Well, I don't want you to go just yet. We have another question. Would syntax work in court?
I didn't even answer the last question.
I can't answer that with certainty because I'm still fucking around and finding out myself in a lot of ways.
But I mean, syntax, the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in language.
If you play on words and games, it's just a play. It doesn't have any power. You give them power, they'll have power. And I've been made fun of my accent many times, and I just switch language and I go back to English. I speak that language for you to comprehend what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
If you want what I'm saying, then I'm just going to not talk to you. So if they don't want to comprehend anything because they're too dumb to comprehend what I'm trying to say, then they're supposed to be the master of that language. They're supposed to be superior and be able to adapt. But if their brain is not able to adapt of somebody who's different language slightly, then it's totally on them. But if you speak like when you call and it's an Indian calling call center and you can barely understand what they're saying, it's a big difference. But in a matter of law, it shouldn't have any language barrier into it. And if they use that and you can show to them how stupid they sound and they are, and they profile you and they target you, it's totally unlawful.
Where I find that it's maybe being multilingual is an advantage, but in legal terms, right? Quebec has a different bar, right? They have a whole different jurisdiction because of the interpretation of the language through a legal lens. So, for example, what I'm saying is if I asked a Frenchman, perhaps that just knew how to function in English, "Are you a male?" And he said, "Yes." "Oui, yeah." Well, then he's just said that he's not a man. He's something else, which is a person, and a person is a different capacity.
Which is a play of word and meaning. You know what he meant, and there's no way further to go than that.
Well, if that flag ain't in the court, they're going to take what's advantageous for the state under the seal. The flag is what I'm saying would have forced and obligated a judge to say, he's saying that it's like this, but he was helping this individual to save their life. And because he did that, they are now alive where they otherwise wouldn't be. Should he be accountable for breaking that fence as he jumped over it? You see what I'm saying? In a way, it's the measure. That's how they weigh it out, is the mustering of your will in a moment. But if they can take advantage of you in a situation and make it seem right, they will. That's why Tamara Litch, Chris Barber, Pat King, all of them sat in a court with no flag and their mouths fucking shut about it.
No way, I didn't even know that.
But the rapping guitars and tits in it, fucking screaming, hold the line, waving it like they're fucking pictures of them stitching it up and fucking in the only fucking space that mattered to them in that moment where it fucking would have saved them, silent as a fucking church mouse. I want to say this too. How is it that they were charged? You see, these got a couple truckers that wanted to do something. When they got there, they realized they needed a liaison with police, and all of a sudden you get these fucking military guys and cops coming out of the fucking woodwork, V4F and all these guys saying that they're the ones that will help them manage and hold them off and defeat their tactics, and they none of them are fucking charged. How the fuck does that happen? How is it that these figureheads that they charge are held for the mischief and all that when they're not responsible for the coordination management of it? It was in fact done through fucking knowledge that was from an inside source. They always alleged, the police always did. So why didn't they see any time? Or
All that is
charges?
just prosecution, and it's been
It's all
proven.
fucking
It's
stuff, is
obvious.
what it is. It was all a fucking game. It got out of control. Too many people cared at once. They didn't expect that.
Yep.
And February 5th, that's where my pin is in the fucking timeline on Convoy. February 5th was the day that fucking a deconstruction was managed to the point where it just went.
The question, do you know Gordon James Berry Jr.? I do. He was on yesterday's show, and I know that John also knows him. I don't know if Selgovae, do you know Gordon?
Yep.
The nationalist? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, I know.
we all know
Gordon
him. Yes.
actually visited me. He's visited me and spent the night. We talked for an evening around the fire and shared
that's
ideas.
awesome. Yeah, that would have been a great conversation. To
We
be
agree
there.
on a lot of things, but not
Yeah.
everything. There's some.
Yep.
Especially around the religion and moral standard to which we establish a law. That's
Yeah.
one fundamental one.
But iron sharpens iron. That's what I would have loved to be in there.
Yeah, you can't perfect an argument unless you fucking rattle sabers with somebody, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the question to John. Do you think Canadians will save this country? How do you feel about? Do you think it's possible? Is it going to happen? Are you hopeful?
It doesn't really matter. I think time will tell what's gonna happen. I usually don't look at politics because it's a bunch of nonsense. I focus on how I react to things outside of my control attacking me, and I choose how I react to that. My own behavior, it's my responsibility. What they do, it's on them, and I can't be blind and let them do whatever they want. But I have no leverage to serve justice the way they have leverage to send armed mercenary guns for hired to my front door, bust in. I got no leverage to deny that. I got no leverage to go to the grocery store without being arrested. I got no leverage to go to Tim Hortons without being arrested. I got no leverage to stay out of jail. I got no leverage to not be bullied, harassed, and what they are doing is domestic terrorist, and they know the rule of engagement on that. I keep reminding them. They don't like it, but that's not my problem. It's the truth, and only the truth. And how I react to it that they do, it's on me. But if there is 10 people coming at me with guns and you see a drone coming over and neutralize them all, well, you can't blame me for that. Because it's not me. It's my security detail doing oversight. But I just hope nobody's going to come around. And I've seen so many things that I can't even speak on the live because it's bad. But I did call the police many times, letting them know that there is bullets flying and they should be doing something to avoid it because I'm tired of it. And that's their job, to avoid people getting shot at. And they don't want no involvement with it. They don't want anything to do with it. And they don't care that people breaking my house, break windows, and steal weapons from me. They don't care at all about it. There is weapons in the wild that are unaccounted for, and no police officer want to take my testimony. So I do what I'm supposed to do, doing the right thing. But if the country is about to fall, then I have no leverage on it. It's out of my control, and I just live every day like it could be my last. Because I had heart attack, cardiac arrest. I was dead more than once, and I'm back alive. I'm in a lot of pain, and all I want to do is be happy and pursue of happiness. And they are denying me my pursuit of happiness by keep bullying me, harassing me, forcing me to go to court over and over, and refusing to take my testimony. And it's a big shit show. But January 8th, I've already called the courthouse and asking them to have extra police officer, because the officer who was there issuing me a ticket broke into my house, refused to leave when told he was trespassing, then stalked outside my house, arresting me a few hundred meters from my house. And then the 911 hang up on me, telling me that supervisor would call me back. And it's been more than a year. I have no call back from the supervisor. I had no call back from nobody. And that police officer who was OPP is now RCMP. So provincial cops, now federal cops. And they had me shackled and nearly killed. They had put a hit on my head. And that police officer is going to be in court next January. And I told the courts that I'm going to ask on the record to have him arrested for attempted murder, for his breach of his oath to serve and protect, and for committing treason and domestic terrorist. And I don't care how it's going to end, because I'm already dead. I'm living on borrowed time. It's not up to me, but it's the right thing to do, making sure that officers like him are off the street and are not weaponized and cannot send their buddy from the ERT and the SWAT team to arrest people because they don't like that you're making complaint about them. And the more you complain, the more escalation of force they do to bully you over and over. And I know my rights. And as a Canadian veteran, if I can't stand up for my own rights, I will not even be able to look in the mirror. I'm standing up for my rights, my freedom. It's not selfish. I'm fighting up for everybody else, because what they do to me, they can do to everybody. I haven't been allowed to see my kid for the past 2 years. I want to see my kids. I want that to be resolved. I'm okay to go to court to have it resolved. But if they refuse to prosecute those who need to be prosecuted, they refuse to do justice to those who need to be justice need to be served. And what's the point? They deny me having a jury of my peers. They deny me having body cam from the police officer who issued those tickets. They were totally fraudulent, which is malicious prosecution. And they deny me everything that I'm supposed to have a fair trial. And when I go to court more than 50 times, and I'm still not allowed to have fair trial, and the judges tell me that it's not the matter of in court today. Well, I do hope that next January, when the officer who had me arrested by the SWAT team and had me sent in jail where I was forced to sleep on the floor, deny my pain medication, to which is internationally acknowledged, to deny me my pain medication as tortured. I was in extra pain. They refused my medication, and they forced me to sleep on the floor. So that officer is involved with human trafficking, human rights abuse, torture, attempted murder, and they want him on the stand against me because I called on 911 to ask him to disengage, and they said I refused to surrender my driver license, which is not true. I gave them all my identification paper. I called on 911. It's all recorded. I identified who I am. I told them my concern about them surrounding me, outnumbering me, outgunning me, putting spike around my vehicle and boxing my vehicle in for a long period of time. And they don't want to talk. All they want to do is bully me, harass me, and there's not much I can do other than being peaceful, live to fight for another day. But January 8th, I do hope there's going to be a lot of people in that courthouse, and I asked for extra police officer to arrest the prosecutor who will be maliciously prosecuting me. And he knows I sent him email about it. He can't deny it. And the police officer is going to be there. There is enough liquor, SIU, and prosecutor email to asking him to be arrested for attempted murder and death threat. And if they don't want to arrest him, they want him on the stand against me, then I will have what I have to do to more than destroy his character, and I will ask to have him arrested for domestic terrorist, treason, and attempted murder. And I don't care what's going to happen. If I end up in shackle and he's still free, then so be it. It's out of my control. But
Is this in Ottawa?
No,
Ottawa
in
court?
Cornwall.
Cornwall courthouse.
An hour from Ottawa.
Well,
What are the charges
like, in
that
your
you
heart, though, in your heart, do you think we're gonna win our country back? Are we? Do you think? See, I'm black pilled. I don't think. I mean, I made a video of my answer, and I'll just do that. Get ready for that. This is how I feel.
Yeah, destroyed but still functioning. Because what I think doesn't matter. It's what happened that matter. And if what I think is the right thing and what happened is not the right thing, then it doesn't matter what I think. And for the past more than 50 court appearances, what I think never materialized. So it doesn't matter what I think. As long as I do the right thing, I'm peaceful.
Yep.
I've asked for diplomacy. I even asked for the Governor General. I sent them my broken dog tag. I've been MIA for multiple months. And the IS Crown representative and the IS military representative in the country don't care about me being MIA, don't care about me having a death threat, don't care about me having all my story. Then any representative of the Crown, any public servant are also committing treason. And it's a big battle. I know it. I see the big picture. It's worse than what I just said. But there's not much to do about it. I don't have the leverage like they have the resources.
I can tell you one thing. The beauty of Selgovae is he can empower people by just the use of a word. You know, the terminologies empower you, and they don't want you to know it. So that's what I love so much about Selgovae is he has this knowledge, and he openly, freely can empower you when you do go to court. You can say a couple of words and change the outcome completely.
I have court verdict about the Governor General being a war criminal. So Canada is in bad water, and they want to use maritime law when they're in bad water. It's on them. But we'll see what's going to happen. So far, I haven't heard that she's been arrested or questioned, and nobody went at me to ask me my testimony. When I called the police station, they refused to take my testimony. And they don't care about people getting threatened to be killed. They don't care about people being shot in public.
Nope.
They don't care about dead body 200 meters off in the backyard. And nobody care about it. The vulture's going to clean it up. The coyote's going to clean it up. And I don't care. They may be a couple guns down there. I don't care.
They especially don't care if you're white.
Yeah.
What are the charges?
Failure to surrender my driver license, and that police officer made a complaint that I threatened him. So they said that they sent me. That's when he said I threatened him because I made too many complaints about him. He said I threatened him, so they sent the SWAT team on me to arrest me.
I don't want to hear all the litigation. What are you charged with?
Failure to surrender my driver license and uttering threats.
Uttering threats, just threats, common threats.
Yeah.
Do you own any firearms?
I can't answer that.
Well, I just want to know because so the uttering threats could impose a firearms ban.
I have a firearm ban on me.
I'm just gonna give you straight up. I don't care. I just want to tell you something, man. Straight up.
Yeah. This
is a Highway Traffic Act fucking issue, and you're turning it into a fucking indictable fucking nightmare. You're not gonna. This isn't.
I gotta pick my battle. Straight up, choose the battlefield, and I'm not gonna back down.
Well, I am a proponent of the Highway Traffic Act myself, but in the capacity of the fact that you refuse to show it, and that's why you're going to court, and you're going to take the stand that you are in it. It will cascade into something that's going to have an echo into the future of your life, one way or
It
another.
doesn't
bro.
matter. I'm living on borrowed time, and if they keep doing
Oh,
that with
How old are
impunity,
you? I
then
don't want to pop your bubble. I just want to know a few things because of what I've heard you say.
35.
Yeah, bro. Don't burn any rubber off the tread at this stage.
35 mile. We're close in
I'm,
age.
I'm like fucking. I'm 55 years. I'm going to be 56 years
Oh,
soon.
come on. You don't look a day
Right.
over 30.
Yeah, dude, I don't want you to like. You're going to get into some digits with a lawyer at some point.
Right.
You're going to get into some serious fucking digits with a lawyer at some point. I mean, you're going to be walking in the door just hoping on one matter, 25 grand. Fucking promise you that. You're going to fuck around and find out at the other end you're in a jail and you don't want to be there.
Yeah, well, last time they
It's
had
gonna
me
cost
in
you
jail.
25 grand to get your ass out of it and through another year and a half of fucking shit.
Yeah, last time I was in jail, the guard was offering contraband to have me dealt
Well,
with in
no,
there.
I appreciate
So,
watching
I don't want to be
individuals
there.
make stands, but there's a point where you kind of like I said, when you walk in, if it's an observer that walks in and says, "Is the flag there?" You as the accused in there doing it, you as a veteran should be accommodated by it being there. But just listening to the whole story and how it seems to be evolving right now, one guy to another, dude, straight up, I love you and I love your fight this far,
Yeah.
but it's time to fucking assess what you really are going to achieve and is it worth the sacrifice you're going to make. Because if you could keep some rubber on your fucking tread and realign some of the knowledge that you have into a more prepared format for an SOP type fucking immediate action drill conversation, and you can just apply it like that, you're safer. And age and wisdom is going to give that to you.
Yeah, but it's been more than
I
5 years.
love to you, man. I appreciate everything you've done up to this point. But if we're talking about a Highway Traffic Act and you're getting all the spook attention that you're getting over just that, it's because you're on threat risk because of your reaction and dialogue with them, and you're clearly not doing yourself any good. And I've been there.
Yes.
So
No, I would agree.
Oh, I told you straight up at the beginning. I've spent 200 grand fucking around. And
I really
and
think
that's
you two.
me, where I am right now. If you can't
are you
handle
two
that way,
connected?
you need to rethink it. There's a
Are you two
different
connected
way
on
to do
Facebook?
it.
Like, are you guys friends on Facebook?
I don't think so. No.
No, because I think you should friend each other, and so you can keep talking. Because I think it's important, and if it can help. I mean, that's what we want, right? We want to do the right thing, because we are fighting, people that do this for a living. So anyway, I hope you both come back. Will you come back? I just want to know.
I'm invited.
Awesome.
I'll be here.
All right, brothers. Thank
Yeah,
you so
sure.
much for coming. I want you guys to get connected and continue your conversation. Thank everyone for coming back. I hope we were helpful and empowering you in your future, and just in case you end up having to deal with the court situation. I'm going to end with a song. It's in 432 hertz. But it's kind of about this show because it's called Apocalypse, and apocalypse biblically just means lifting of the veil, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're lifting the veil and we're showing you things, and I hate that it's low vibrational stuff. I hate that it's negative, but if I can empower you with these amazing people I've met, I want to do it. I mean, it's worth dying for, saving this our fellow man. It really is, and I hope you enjoy it. It's like I said, it's called Apocalypse, and I'm just gonna. Bye.